This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Are you being misled by the decorating myths? Hey everybody, it's Kelly Wilkness here with Anita Joyce, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks. Today we are discussing decorating myths to stop following. There's so many out there, and they just float around in the general consciousness, and most of them, if not all of them, are incorrect or what could be incorrect for your room. So today we are going to go through the myths that are out there. We're going to debunk, and we're going to tell you why you don't need to be following that, and you should be following your own instincts and advice that you get from trusted experts such as us or somebody that you know. But these myths are not for every room, not for every house, and many of them are not even true at all in any place at any time.
That's true. And some of these were just things that were done for a long time because people thought certain things, but there was no basis for it. So you're right about that, Kelly. And it's amazing how many of these things have become part of the decorating lore.
Yes, myths they circulate out there in the culture, in the collective consciousness, about so many things. And decorating is one of those things. And they just get passed from person to person. And then they get legitimized because they've been repeated so many times. So they're kind of lies almost, but we don't want to say that because we don't want you to think people have been telling you lies, but there are myths. And we are here to tell you that you can stop following the ones you may be following. So you got to listen to figure out whether or not you're actually doing that and how you can stop.
Well said. Are you ready to get into the list?
Yeah.
All right. Small rooms must be painted white. And I heard that from the very beginning, and it's just not true. People assume that if you paint walls white, the room will automatically feel larger. But sometimes color depth can create more dimension than stark white walls do. And darker colors like deep greens, navy blues, and charcoals can actually make the walls visually recede, which adds some depth. So just think about it before you do it and make sure it's what you want to do as far as the paint color goes. And you do not have to paint those small powder rooms white. And I'm sure you've heard the term jewel box. Sometimes it's really fun to paint them a really fun, interesting color.
I'm going to kick off with paint myth as well. This one is start with the paint color. That is dumb. You really don't want to start with the paint color. Unless, I guess, you can't possibly change the paint color. But paint is the easiest thing to change. Better to start with a rug. Better to start with inspiration photo. Better to start with upholstery or art. You don't need to start with the paint color. There are so many choices of paint colors. What we like to tell people is to start with the item that has the least number of choices. Mm-hmm. So say you're choosing cabinetry, countertop, and paint for a kitchen. Well, start with the countertop because that's going to have the least number of choices of those three things, and then work from there. You can always find a paint that is going to work. You can have a paint mixed specifically for you. I am sure in the universe of all the paint colors, find a paint color that is going to work with the choices that you have made.
So true. I so agree with that. Another myth people think is true is that everything has to match. And I don't find this as much now as it used to be, but there certainly was a time when people bought the sofa, the love seat, the chair, in the same pattern and style, maybe the dining table, the chairs, the china cabinet, it all had to match. Well, now we don't even use china cabinets in most cases. So feel free to mix and match different patterns. Just make sure they work together. It's not about matching. Think about coordinating. So everything needs to play well together. So just think about that as you're selecting furniture for your room.
And just as an aside, I feel like a lot of these myths or people's desire to hang on to them and follow them, it's kind of a default. Decorating isn't easy, and some people really, really struggle with it. That's why we're here. So we're here to help. If you're struggling, let us know. We will help you. If you have something you can hang on to, like these myths, maybe it makes the process a little bit easier, but it's not going to make the result better. So when you listen to this list of these myths that we're debunking today, a lot of them are kind of like the knee-jerk reaction, the easy road, like get all the furniture that matches. It's easier than trying to find things that coordinate, but it's not going to be the best for your spaces. Another one is that symmetry is always best. I love symmetry. I'm a very organized person. I'm a Capricorn. I'm type A. Symmetry is like, right, it's like in my DNA. But
yeah, me too. I love it. Well,
it's not always the best choice. And certainly everything being symmetrical in your rooms is not the best choice because it's boring. Right? You need to shake it up a little bit. Asymmetry is actually a form of symmetry. So you're really not jumping off the cliff. It's a form of symmetry to have something be asymmetrical. So try it. If everything in your room has a pair and everything is flanking something and it's the exact same thing, pull something away. Make the other item, even if you want to have two items, make the other one a little bit different and see how that feels. Even the smallest step into becoming asymmetrical, picture this. You've got two chairs in a living room, maybe on either side of the sofa. They have the exact same lumbar pillow on them. Looks nice, right? Okay, put a throw, artfully, hanging off the arm of one of those chairs. Don't put it on the other one. See how that feels. Yeah, I know. Did you start to twitch?
Feel bad.
It's going to feel good, right? It is not going to feel bad. It's going to look great. You don't want it to be a carbon copy on the other side of the room. So that is just like a tiny little baby step into breaking that symmetry myth in your own space. I've been overwhelmed by the positive response to my app, Home Design Coach. Are you one of the many DTT listeners already working with me on the app? Well, if not, give it a go. Head to studio.com/Kelly to learn more about Home Design Coach and see if it's right for you. You can take the quiz, get your personalized plan, and then you can decide whether to subscribe. There's no obligation, just opportunity. An opportunity to work with me to create a home you truly love. Studio.com/Kelly. Hope to see you there.
What about mixing metals? Because I know a lot of people that think you can't do that, and you can. You can. Just be careful about it. I think just be smart about it. So I would not have more than one type of metal on pulls in a particular room. So if they're brass, then just do the whole room in brass pulls. But you could have a bronze light fixture or a stainless steel sink in there. So, that's something to keep in mind. You can mix.
Yes, I find myself saying that to clients all the time. Mixing metals is okay, but I love your caveats because that is so true. If you've got a category of metal items, like Anita mentioned, the pulls, they should all be the same. If they're the same pull or virtually the same type of pull knob, they should all be this one same metal. And then when you go to a different category of something else, that can mix in, but you don't want to have maybe more than 3 in a space.
True.
You need overhead lighting to light a room. Every contractor is going to tell you that. Certainly every electrician is going to tell you that because, that keeps them in business, but you don't need it. It is helpful in some spaces, but you don't have to have it. And if you don't have it, you don't have to feel bad about that, and you don't have to feel like your room won't be lit properly. Just get yourself some better lamps, get yourself some standing lamps, add some lighting in different ways into the space, but you do not have to have overhead lights in the form of recessed lighting, sometimes called hi-hats, can lights. You don't need to have that. I have an older home. I only have that in one room, which is an office, and we did it purposely up there for my husband. I wouldn't have done it, but he wanted them, and it's fine. I don't think he really even puts them on that much. But our house didn't have those, and I wasn't going to cut open all our ceilings to put in can lights. It wouldn't work with an 1886 house anyway. So if you don't have can lights, that's okay. You don't need them. And if you do have them, I'm sure I don't need to say this, but dimmers will be your best friend.
Very true. What about one wood tone? And when I first started decorating, that's what I thought. And so I was really working on getting all my wood tones the same. And it was something I wish I hadn't done because I got rid of some nice furniture that I wish I still had. So I think, again, be mindful of it. If you have too many different wood tones in one room, it might feel chaotic. I think you just need to be mindful of it, look at it, see if it's working, take a picture. And certain woods don't work well together. Very cool toned woods don't work with very warm tones woods, but definitely mixing and putting different types of wood tones, I think works beautifully and makes the room look more interesting.
I'm usually talking to you about Quince home decor. Today I want to focus on their clothing. My closet is brimming with Quince. The fabrics feel elevated, the fits are flattering, and everything just works without overthinking it. I absolutely love everything from Quince, but in particular, the lightweight cotton cashmere link stitch dolman sweater, which I just simply call my favorite, is my go-to piece. It is such a flattering sweater. Every time I wear it, people stop me and ask me where I got it. And one of the best things about this sweater is it's $39.90. You cannot beat that price, and the quality is amazing. Quince makes it easy to refresh your everyday this spring with pieces that feel as good as they look. Everything at Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They work directly with ethical factories and cut out the middleman, so you're paying for quality and craftsmanship, not brand markup. Refresh your everyday with luxury you'll actually use. Head to quince.com/DTT for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. I'm really excited to tell you about the world's #1 expanding garden hose and their brand new product, the Pocket Hose Ballistic. Now that sounds serious, doesn't it? Well, it is, and I am a serious gardener, so this is the kind of hose that I'm going to use. I have so many container gardens around my house, and I need to water them all individually, so I can't mess around with subpar hoses. That's why the Pocket Hose is my go-to hose. Pocket Hose is the #1 expandable hose in the entire world. It's super lightweight, easy to manage, easy to store. Turn the water on and it grows. Turn the water off and it shrinks back to pocket size. The Pocket Hose Ballistic is reinforced with a liquid crystal polymer used in bulletproof vests. I told you it was serious. Making the anti-burst sleeve practically bulletproof. And now for a limited time, when you purchase a new Pocket Hose Ballistic, you'll get a free 360-degree rotating pocket pivot and free thumb drive nozzle. Just text DTT to 64,000. That's DTT to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. So you're going to text DTT to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. Now I'm talking to you open concept people. The myth being open concept means everything should look the same. No. That's boring. That means you're just looking out over like a sea of the sameness. You need to sort of separate out the areas, particularly in an open concept type of home, right? Designate areas for certain functions, and you can use different colors, not all different colors. Don't get me wrong on that, but choose your palette. Maybe you've got 3 different colors working in there, and you can lean into one color a little bit more. Say you've got a kitchen open dining area and sort of a small family TV area, kind of a typical open concept setup. So maybe your kitchen is primarily white with the cabinets and things like that. So maybe the area where you're eating is one of your colors from your palette, and you lean more into that. Maybe the chairs are upholstered in your blue or green. Maybe there's a runner on there that's also that color, but you see that color somewhere in the kitchen as well, in decor or some of your appliances or things like that. And then maybe the TV area, you highlight that other color that's in your palette. Maybe the small sectional or something is in the other accent color you're using, maybe a green or whatever color you're choosing. But you can use the colors of your palette in differing degrees, differing amounts in the various spaces of your open concept. You're going to get this very cohesive flow. You're going to see that color and those colors all around the space, but it's not going to be all the same. It's not all white with maybe a dot here or there of other color, because that your eye is going to be confused in an open concept space if that's the way you're decorating, because there's nothing for it to really hold on to. So it's kind of looking around all the different spaces, and that in your brain, it makes it a bit confusing, and it's not giving you peace. So internally, you're feeling uncomfortable in the space, and maybe you don't know why. So if you do have an open concept area and you have been following this open concept means everything should look the same myth, try to shake it up a little bit.
So, we all love the trends, but are they driving all of your decisions? Are you focused on doing what is on trend rather than what speaks to you? This is a myth that what you should be doing with your house is following the trends. And I think it's fun to be aware of them, know what they are, and if they speak to you, go ahead and add some of that to your home. But if you're letting that drive all of your decisions, I think you're going to end up with a home that isn't meaningful to you, that isn't personal to you, and you're going to be tired of it, and you're going to be on a constant hamster wheel to keep your house up on trend. So rather than asking, is this trendy, ask, do I love this enough to live with it every day?
Yeah. And the trend myth goes hand in hand with having FOMO. Like, you don't want to be left out of the trend. You don't want to be left behind. You don't want your house to look dated. The surest way to date your home is to follow the trends really closely, because as soon as the trend's out, that's when your house does look dated. So classic and timeless is the way to roll. Another myth is going all neutral, and that being neutral in your home is safe and timeless. Not necessarily, because we see so many neutral spaces that honestly just big yawns. There's just nothing going on in there that shows personality. Even if you spend a whole lot of money, it looks like a high-end hotel room. Neutrals are not necessarily the way to go to have a timeless space, because neutrals were so trendy at a period of time. And if you're not doing it well, it's not going to stand the test of time. And it's also not going to be a great space to be in. So you need some contrast in there. Otherwise, it's fairly forgettable.
You're right. So many of these neutral rooms end up just looking boring. I think if you do it correctly, it's not boring. It's beautiful and elegant and quiet. But if you don't do it correctly, then it just ends up looking like a doctor's office, which we don't want to live in. Art should always be hung at eye level. That is another myth that is not true. And I think eye level is a great place to start. I think that is a nice place to have artwork. But if you have a piece of furniture below it, then the artwork needs to talk to the piece of furniture below it. Or if there's furniture flanking the artwork, it needs to work with the furniture around it. So just make sure that it has some breathing room between the artwork and the furniture, but they need to feel connected.
That is such a good one, because that is a really hard thing for people to do. There's so many things involved. There's making holes in your wall. There's some math. There's measuring. Everybody's eye level is different. So, it depends on who you've got in your house.
Well, in my house, it's my eye level.
Well, we know who's in charge over there. Okay.
Well, but I had a round mirror above a vanity one time, and I realized that the other person in the house, it would just showed his neck. And so that's why they say don't put a round mirror in front of a vanity. So I had to change out the mirror because that wasn't nice. I can't do that.
That's so funny. Yeah, but it's also something you wouldn't think of until you hung it up and you're like, wow, that looks great. And then you're like, oh, okay.
Then it's like, well, all I can see is my neck. Well, it looks good.
Your neck looks great. It's great to just concentrate on that. Anyway, you could just squat a little bit. But anyway, good for you. What a nice marital compromise that you changed that out. I think Anita makes such an excellent point because that is a myth that people want to follow because you want to hang on to something. I mean, how many gallery wall blog posts are there out in the universe? How many instructions on how to hang things on the wall are there, right? So if there's something you can hang your hat on, literally and figuratively, but for that one, you're going to want to do that because it's scary, but don't do it. Because it is wrong. It's not going to always be right. Sometimes it's right, but it has to be the right eye, obviously. And it has to be, as Anita pointed out, the right piece of furniture or something under it. And it is also kind of just, what is done. And sometimes you need to shake it up. So let's debunk that myth right now. And you have to figure out what's right for you in your space. And don't we love the interest that is created if you took 3 pieces of artwork and they don't even necessarily have to match and hung them vertically and went pretty far down on the wall? That's interesting, right? That's not something you see all the time. So think about ways that you can hang your art up. I mean, obviously, you're not going to just hang one piece too low. That's weird. But if you had 3 pieces, or if you had something that you could do in a stacked gallery type of situation, try things like that and don't just follow the air quotes wisdom that's out there about hanging art. I'm helping a friend set up her online shop, and the best advice I've given her is to set it up on Shopify. Anita and I did, and we could not have been happier. And one of the best features of Shopify is that purple pay button. It is so easy to use. It's iconic. You can't miss it. And if you are setting up an online shop, you definitely want it. It makes purchasing so easy. You don't have to look for your credit card. You don't have to remember passwords. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., from household name brands to your brand. You can get started with your own design studio. Shopify has hundreds of ready-to-use templates, and they help you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. And then you can get the word out, like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And what if you get stuck? Shopify is always around to share advice and their award-winning 24/7 customer support. See less carts go abandoned and more sales go with Shopify and their Shop Pay button. Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/DTT. Go to shopify.com/DTT. That's shopify.com/DTT. I'm helping a friend set up her online shop, and the best advice I've given her is to set it up on Shopify. Anita and I did, and we could not have been happier. And one of the best features of Shopify is that purple pay button. It is so easy to use. It's iconic. You can't miss it. And if you are setting up an online shop, you definitely want it. It makes purchasing so easy. You don't have to look for your credit card. You don't have to remember passwords. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., from household name brands to your brand. You can get started with your own design studio. Shopify has hundreds of ready-to-use templates, and they help you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. And then you can get the word out, like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And what if you get stuck? Shopify is always around to share advice and their award-winning 24/7 customer support. See less carts go abandoned and more sales go with Shopify and their Shop Pay button. Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/DTT. Go to shopify.com/DTT. That's shopify.com/DTT. Every room needs a focal point. Now, normal people don't really talk about this. You know, somebody like bump into someone and they're like, hey, just want to tell you about my focal point in my living room. But when you're really getting into designing a space, you may read about this. You may talk to a local designer about it. And they're like, oh, well, what's your focal point? Well, you know what? Not every room has to have one. And the thing is, you don't want to force it. If you've got a fireplace and that's in the room, then that's the focal point. Even if you don't like the fireplace, sorry to tell you, that is going to be the focal point. If you've got a big screen TV in a room, well, yeah, that's probably going to be the focal point too, because it's kind of hard to ignore it. And that sort of thing, like a TV, leads the function of the room. Right? So say you don't have a TV in a room and you don't have a fireplace in a room and it's just a really nice sort of rectangular or square room. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have to get some, exotic bird cage, or I got to get something in here that's a focal point. You don't. You can have a very beautiful room that is decorated really well, that doesn't have something that your eye necessarily zooms in on. Maybe you create, not even maybe, you should create some interest with either art or an antique piece or something that's going to make a bit of a statement in the room, but it doesn't have to be this big, imposing type of focal point. So don't worry if you've got spaces and rooms in your home that don't have that. It's not necessary in every space.
Talking about every room needing something, being a myth, every room needs a theme. That is a myth. So, and, when I was, I was a kid, I went to someone's house and they did have lots of money and every room was a little different. There was like a safari room and a tropical room. And of course, I just thought this was the most amazing house I'd ever been in because it was so different. And it was a big house too. And, if you have lots of money and just you're very whimsical, I think that's a fun thing to do. But, unless that's your thing, you don't need to do this. It does not need to be themed. You do not need a horse room. You don't need a quilt room. And, your kitchen does not need to be the farm where you buy the eggs. You don't need the egg signs. The bathroom does not need to have seashells in it.
I knew you were going to say that. Oh, yes. Your room does not have to pretend it's, on the ocean. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I love dishes. I have dishes in my house. Maybe the whole thing is a china cabinet. I can't help myself. I do love them. But that's kind of part of my passion. So, I think it's okay to have stuff that you love. I know some friends of mine are horse people and they have horses. They love horses. So there's a lot of stuff in their house that have to do with their horses. I think that's okay because that's their passion. But you don't need to have again, a coastal, a farmhouse, a rustic. You don't need those kind of themes in your room.
Oh, you really shouldn't. You shouldn't. I don't think. You shouldn't do that. You need a big space to make it beautiful. We encounter so many people. I just did yesterday with a new client. She was apologizing in a sense when I pulled up for the size of her house, like apologizing for her square footage. Now, she's a beautiful Mediterranean.
So was it too big or too small?
Too small. Oh. Most people, I guess maybe the tide's turning and people might apologize for McMansions, but most people feel that they are somehow lacking because they don't have more square footage. You do not have to have a big space to make it beautiful. Yeah, so I pulled up and I met this new client and immediately she launched into what was almost amounted to an apology for the fact that she didn't have a bigger house. That is ridiculous. Her home is beautiful, an older Mediterranean home with tons of character. You do not have to have a big home to make it beautiful. In fact, a smaller home easier to make beautiful,
So
on a
true.
budget. Easier to make beautiful even if you have an unlimited budget, because you just can buy fabulous things and tuck them in there and make your whole home like the jewel box Anita was mentioning earlier. So please don't feel that you need to have these giant spaces to have a beautiful home. It makes me sad when people feel that way. And I don't even know that they could articulate it necessarily, or it's just something maybe they think about and they keep inside, because we're constantly fed that bigger is better. Supersize me, baby, right? That you don't need that in your home. I don't want that. And my home is not gigantic, and it's very unique and it's very me, and I absolutely love it. I don't feel like you can't make your home beautiful in every respect because it's on the smaller scale.
What about the ceilings always being white? This is not something that you have to do. You can paint them the color of the walls. In fact, I love that look. The only caveat here is if you paint it the color of the wall and you change the wall color, you're probably going to need to change your ceiling paint also. So that's the caveat there. But just keep in mind, it does not have to be white.
No, think about it as the fifth wall. Think about something interesting to do. And if white seems like the best choice, it's a great choice, and nobody could fault you for that. But, kind of like that Swiss coffee, that is the default, which I would call some sort of painter's myth out there that that's the right color for everybody's walls. It is not. And then, they even call it ceiling white. I don't think there is any paint called ceiling white. It's just the whitest of the whites, which is often a cold white, mind you, from various paint brands.
Well, then what about wallpaper on the ceiling? We've talked about that. So that can be done too. You do not have to do white paint.
My last one is sectionals are always best for family rooms. Sectionals, I don't really know necessarily when they came into vogue or then became just the thing that everybody's doing. If you want to watch TV with your family of 4 plus, a sectional might be the best choice for you, but it's not always the best choice for the room. So consider your space. Don't just knee jerk to a sectional. You have to think about how you're going to get in and out of that room. You don't want to be climbing over the coffee table or other people or the end of the sectional to get in and out of the space. So that's not going to always be the best.
Well, I think that was a great list. And I think the point remains there's a lot of myths out there, and we don't need to be following them. Use your best judgment. Like you said, listen to people that you trust and, go with what you feel like you want for your home. I think that's great advice. So what's your crush, Kelly?
My crush is it's a book. It's also an Instagram. It's called Let's Botanize. And I heard these guys, it's 2 guys who started this. I think they went to MIT or Harvard, someplace where they got a great science background. And they really delved into how to understand botany without having to go to Harvard or MIT, get a great science degree. So I find it so interesting. I love the idea of knowing more about plants and how they interact and, how they attract the pollinators and all the things that plants do, because they're absolutely amazing. And there's so much more research now about how trees are actually talking to each other underground. And I love all that stuff. So if you have similar interests or if you want to try it out, I would highly suggest you check out Let's Botanize. They're on Instagram. They also just came out with a book. I just ordered the book, and it's supposed to be very easy to grasp. I have read some books on botany that are a little harder to grasp, and they have you out there in the wild looking for and then helping you identify plants that are doing their thing and to understand a little bit more about them. So we will link that in the show notes.
My crush is the show All Creatures Great and Small. The book was written, it was about a veterinarian in England in, I guess, probably the 30s. And it was about James Herriot. And they had a TV show the BBC did in the 70s, and it went for a long time, and I've watched all of it. And it's very interesting. It's very sweet, just charming. It's kind of about a slow life in the countryside.
Is there a fete and is someone murdered? Because that's usually what happens in those little villages.
Well, that is true, but it's not a murder mystery, so people don't go off dying on this one. Now, you're going to have to watch Father Brown for that.
I can't watch that. I'm sorry. That one I can't do. I mean, some of the other ones I can handle, but Father Brown.
You don't like Father Brown?
No, don't.
Oh, I love Father Brown, which is another great show. Anyway, it was a great show. It was a series of books to begin with, or maybe it was just one book. I don't really know because I didn't read the book. I watched the show. But there is a reboot that the PBS is doing, and it's several seasons in. I've gotten it on Amazon. I think I had to pay for it. But if you have a PBS station, you might be able to just record it or get it there. But it's a great show. It's fun. It's relaxing, and hopefully you'll enjoy it.
My parents love that show.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yes. I think they watch if they're having like a bad day or something, they'll just rewatch the Christmas episodes.
Oh. Well, some people say it's boring, so I will warn you of that, but I like it. But again, it's slow moving. So
I like movies and shows where not much happens. And there are little animals involved. I mean, how could it be?
This was so fun. And do remember, it's about balance, proportion, and personal style, not about following a bunch of rigid rules that may or may not be true. So thanks so much for hanging out with us. And remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Fabulous, fun, wow, even better than I had hoped or expected. These are just a few of the words used to describe a DTT design consult. We've been doing consults for many years, and boy, are we good at it. And people are loving the results of the advice and suggestions that we make for them. It's so easy to schedule a consult with us. Just simply go to our website, decoratingtipsandtricks.com, and click consult. There you'll be led through the very simple process. And sooner than later, you, I, and Anita will be discussing your home in detail. So sign up for a consult today. Let us help you design and decorate the home that you want and deserve. Looking forward to talking to you soon.